Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to our random review. Today's random review comes from 2021. It's Hong Sang-soo's In Front of Your Face. This is one of the Nova Media Sang-soo films that I picked up in the winter sale. You can check out my video to see what other titles I got. You can also check out Goosey's movie channel, as he picked up a couple of titles as well in the sale. You can go over to his channel, which is excellent. So this film, I think this is my fourth Hong Sang-soo, probably my second favourite. This was almost became my film of the year, beating Faro from Poland, but not quite, but it was almost becoming my film of the year. Now obviously Hong Sang-soo is not for everybody. If you're used to Liam Neeson's Taken films where they make 36 cuts just to jump a fence, Hong Sang-soo might be a bit of an adjustment. His films are very quiet, or the ones I've seen are very quiet, very deliberate, long takes, generally people just talking, no explosions, car chases, aliens invasion, that kind of thing. Very human films, fairly productive director. He's a true auteur. He writes, directs, produces, edits sometimes, composes the music. He has a kind of a small kind of chamber of actors. As I said, his films are quiet, but for some reason, because they're so quiet, you do tend to pay more attention. You tend to get hooked in to the characters, and this one is no exception. So it's pretty much about two sisters, an older sister who's living in the US and comes back to Korea to visit her younger sister. The older sister is played by Hee Yoon Lee. Obviously my pronunciations will be terrible. And the younger sister is played by Yeon Hee Cho. His films that I've seen so far are generally about creative types. So there's lots of film directors or writers or actors in his films. So the older the older sister used to be an actress in her youth. The younger sister wants her to come back to Korea and stay, but the older sister's not that keen. I wouldn't say she's made a huge success of her life in the US, but she wants to come back just for this visit and see her nephew again. There's another reason for her visit that we find out later, but I won't go into here. She has during her stay, she has a lunch appointment set up with a film director who played by Hae Kwon, who's been in a couple of Hong Sang-soo films that I've seen. So there's a chance that she might take up acting again. In one scene she's recognised in the street by a woman, even though she was only on television years ago briefly, but she's still recognised. Hee Young Lee just knocks this out of the park. It's an absolutely brilliant performance. These are the kind of performances that should get Oscars, for as much as an Oscar means anything. Again, Hong Sang-soo films are difficult to talk about and difficult to describe, because they are generally films with people walking about or sitting just having conversations, but again, they're just, you get into the characters. I've talked about in the channel, plenty of films that have kind of unlikable protagonists, and that fine line between, well, for me anyway, of being an unlikable protagonist that you're interested in and an unlikable protagonist that you just don't care about and don't identify with. You don't really have, well, again, with the writer of so far, you don't really have that in Hong Sang-soo films, because generally there's characters that you're hooked into. Again, there's just wonderful scenes. The lunchtime meeting with the director is postponed to 3 o'clock. So Hee Young Lee goes back to where she used to live, meets somebody in the kind of garden area, has a wonderful chat. She sees a child and ends up hugging that child, which is for some reason quite moving. Granted, if a man did it, I'd probably get arrested. And then the meeting with the director is just absolutely wonderful. Again, it's a static camera, it's a long take, but it's just wonderful as he talks about, he remembers seeing her in films and how beautiful she looked. She's got a really cinematic face. She plays a couple of pieces of music on an acoustic guitar. Again, as you can tell, there's not a lot of plot points. This is all character points, but they're done just so beautifully. Obviously some of these films are longer than others, some of these films are just over an hour. I think this one's about an hour and a half. 93 minutes. But again, it's just characters you want to spend time with, even if they are just walking through a garden or sitting chatting to somebody. There is some strange kind of alchemy that Hong Sang-soo seems to have, of just entering these people's lives for a short time, but then giving us a window into these people's lives that we end up really admiring and having feelings for. So again, with all these films, there's not a lot of plot points to talk about, but the title in front of your face, we lost David Lynch recently, which I think the whole of the film community is feeling. But again, he said focus on the donut and not the hole, and that is kind of the message of In Front of Your Face. It's just a wonderful film. Again, almost became my film of the year, but not quite. But it is quite fantastic. So I would highly recommend it if you can pick it up. I don't know whether it's available on streaming somewhere. It probably is, on Mubi or something like that. But the Blu-ray looks fantastic. Again, all of the Nova Media releases that I got in the winter sale are all multi-region, and well, almost all of them have English subtitles. Yeah, just a fantastic Hong Sang-soo film and a fantastic lead performance. Just absolutely beautiful, as a woman coming back to her home, and thinking about her life and thinking about her future. Again, on the face of it, perhaps not a film that I would naturally dig, but again, as I said, Hong Sang-soo just has this kind of secret powder that he sprinkles onto the cinematic screen, that just makes little gems. Of course, he's never going to be like a huge director in a commercial sense. You could show this on BBC at 8 o'clock and you'd probably get millions of complaints, because again, yes, this is one of these directors that people who aren't used to these kind of films would say absolutely nothing happens, but that's of course complete nonsense, because lots of things happen, just not a lot of things you can describe in a video. So thanks so much for watching. Apologies for the vagueness of this review, but if you've seen Hong Sang-soo films even, you'll kind of understand. So please let me know if you've seen In Front of Your Face from 2021 and what you think of it, and hopefully you'll join me again for more random reviews. This is Saoirse Ronan from Saoirse Ronan Films saying farewell.